TIL that Jimmy Carter promised to release all government UFO information if he became president. However, after being elected, he chose not to, citing national security concerns. Didn't Clinton, Obama and Trump all more or less say something similar? As a sidebar, why do presidents refuse to release the JFK files? Biden, Trump refused to release them. The government keeps delaying the release. President Biden said the delay was necessary and outweighs the public interest in immediate disclosure. Every president who has said this winds up taking it back, because military secrets are too important to cave to UFO believers. UFOs were not aliens, they were top-secret experimental military aircraft testing out stealth technology. That's probably why. TIL about boredom room, an employee exit management strategy whereby employees are transferred to another department where they are assigned meaningless work until they become disheartened and resign. This strategy is commonly used in countries that have strong labor laws, such as France and Japan. Slow Horses on Apple TV is basically the spy version of this. MI5 sends agents who screw up to Slough House to do busy work and mind-numbing tasks to force them to quit, because if they fired them they could go to an industrial tribunal and potentially embarrass the government. I haven't read the books but the TV series is top-notch, and Gary Oldman is great in it. It also is nice to have a TV show that comes out quickly. Season 4 just finished and the show only premiered 2 years ago. In Italy, this is mobbing and illegal. Today I learned that Warren Buffett recently changed his mind about donating all his money to the Gates Foundation upon his death. He is just going to let his kids figure it out. New Succession season just dropped. So they're going to set up their own charitable foundations and pay themselves crazy money to be the CEOs of their respective ones. And yet, he isn't doing the smart thing, hiding it all in a remote location, the precise whereabouts of which can only be discerned by following a series of clues hidden behind ciphers, puzzles, and traps, the first of which will be released in a cryptic video left to his heirs which will result in a map-cap race to see who gets it all. TIL F1 driver Kimi Räikkönen nearly bankrupted the Lotus team by being too good. His contract said that he would be awarded €50,000 for every championship point scored. Lotus thought their car would be so uncompetitive that year that it would not be a problem. Kimi went on to score 207 points. It was even more severe, he scored 390 points in 2 seasons so Lotus owed him €19.5 million. In Räikkönen's biography it states that he never received all the money because the team couldn't pay him. He eventually dropped charges as he didn't want the team to go bankrupt, but he left Lotus and signed for Ferrari in 2014. He did forfeit most of it to make sure other people were not laid off. It would be funny if he forgot about that clause in his contract and at the end of the season was told he made $10,350,000 and that he may be taking down Lotus Racing in the process. TIL about Andy George, who makes a chicken sandwich entirely from scratch. He grew his own veggies, traveled by a plane to collect ocean water to make salt, milked a cow to make butter and cheese, killed a chicken, and grew wheat for flour. The entire project took 6 months and costs him $1,500. How was the sandwich? I wonder if he built the plane from scratch after mining the materials. If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. He does a really good YouTube series called How to Make Everything. While some series would grind and grind to make things from scratch, his series tackle the idea that once you've unlocked a certain technological innovation, you don't have to grind it from start and just start from there. Today I learned I'm fucking old because I remember when this was posted on Reddit as a new thing. TIL that the $1 million 1988 McDonald's record winner was 13, had his mom claim it, she squandered a good chunk of it, had her BF steal what was left, lost his mom 10 years later, doesn't talk to his sister and now trims trees. So fucking pathetic to steal that future away from your child like that. Horrible human beings. Damn, could have been set for life with proper investment. What a shit family this poor lad was born into. TIL the T4 program was a Nazi German euthanasia program that forcibly killed the physically or mentally disabled, the emotionally distraught, elderly people and the incurably ill. The death toll may have reached 200,000 or more. Yes, and many of the people involved would go on to be leading figures in the extermination of the Polish Jews as part of Operation Reinhardt at the extermination camps of Treblinka, Belzec, and Sobibor. My grandmother had a mentally challenged sister who was taken to one of those hospitals where they wanted to treat people like her. A few months later they received a letter stating she had died and had already been cremated. This must have been horrible for her family. My grandmother only talked once about it. Till that in 1983, scientists created a machine that temporarily allowed people to see new colors outside of the regular color space. Imagine a color you can't even imagine. Now do that 9 more times. So, what happened to this machine and why don't more people develop machines like this? Seeing unknown colors sounds cool as shit. Some observers indicated that although they were aware that what they were viewing was a color, that is, the field was not achromatic, they were unable to name or describe the color. One of these observers was an artist with large color vocabulary. Other observers of the novel hues described the first stimulus as a reddish green. That's gotta be a very fucked up feeling to see a color you don't know how to name. Were they driven mad by the incomprehensible horror of gazing behind the veil of our limited understanding? Why didn't they take a screenshot of it so we can see for ourselves? What's your comfort show you've rewatched a million times? 30 Rock. There are so many jokes that on a rewatch you'll always catch new ones you have underappreciated or didn't fully process, every episode. Malcolm in the Middle. Arrested Development. My boss hired 2 interns to replace me and asked me to train them after they were planning to fire me. The firing was just a prank is such a ridiculous thing to say. 2 things, you followed her instructions to the letter, and you got her orders in writing. Well played. TIL. Robin Williams used to trash talk teenagers on Call of Duty, and described the series as cyber cocaine. If Robin Williams ever told me that he slept with my mom, I'm not sure if I'd take it as an insult or a compliment. Being trash talked by Robin Williams would be a fucking honor. 07. TIL, the family that couldn't sleep, a family in Venice, Italy, where for over 200 years many of the family members died suffering from fatal insomnia. Could you imagine being born to this family and just waiting to see if you're gonna be one of the unlucky ones? I had severe insomnia a couple of times. I'd rather be in pain. It was hell to be exhausted and unable to sleep despite conducive circumstances. TIL, there was obesity in the Middle Ages, but the rich were expected to restrain themselves as fat people can't become knights. However, Sancho I was a morbidly obese king who weighed 240 kilograms and couldn't wield a sword, bed his wife, or walk. He was eventually expelled as he was too obese to rule. To get over 500 pounds before modern processed food you had to be a real eater. Bro was getting fat without Oreos, pizza, soda, or anything. Just eating cheese, pasta, honey, alcohol, and meat for the love of the game. Sancho I of Leon, as almost any territory in Spain had a king named Sancho. Till Franz Kafka held a lifelong belief that other people found him mentally and physically repulsive. In reality, many who met him found him to be handsome, intelligent, and possessing a good sense of humor. Kafka hated himself and his writing so much that upon his death he asked his best friend to destroy all of his work. He actually burned something like 90% of everything he wrote, and the only reason we have most of his catalog is because his best friend Max Brod didn't listen to him and saved what he could. Damn, the real Till for me is his 3 sisters were all murdered in the Holocaust. Almost as if he awoke to find that he was a giant insect, but no one took it seriously. Till The Last of Us accidentally contains an IRL phone number that leads directly to an adult hotline service. In the 90s you could call 1-800 Big Bird and a guy would answer the phone with "What the fuck do you want?" At WHCH time you just cussed him out. If you tried to have a conversation with him, he would hang up. He would also talk shit right back and nothing was out of bounds. After about a minute he would hang up regardless. The only time he hung up on me early was a time I believe I made him laugh. In one episode of the AVGN, I think it's the one with Roger Rabbit, there's a 1-800 phone that in that era could give you clues about how to advance in the game, but he tried calling in early 2000s and it was a hotline now, hahaha, you never know what you will get. Like and subscribe.